I'm a sex historian, and my PhD focused on 18th century Europe, a time that's often described as the first sexual revolution, seeing the invention of the pornographic novel, the rise of the sexual celebrity, and the visibility of some quite experimental brothels and practices. One of the most common questions I get is how and why did we move from this time of liberality and experimentation back to more conservative, prudish values? There are many answers to this question, but the one I want to talk about today, because I think it's quite relevant, is the economy. When the economy is doing badly, we become more conservative, and vice versa, and this is a pattern that we see all throughout history. Now, amongst all the kinky fun, 18th century Europe also sees a very visible increase of wealth inequality and obsession with social status. We've moved from feudalism to capitalism, to the people who own private property and those who are very openly going hungry. And this does introduce an obsession with inheritance. Now, women, let's remember, had very limited access to property rights. And what this meant for marriage was kind of twofold. Women needed to be desirable to rich men. And rich men were becoming increasingly concerned with this issue of inheritance, ensuring what was theirs was passed down to who was theirs. And so it's easier to see how there is a conservative shift for the wealthier classes. For the working class, we have different factors amounting to the same thing. If food prices and the cost of living is soaring, you don't want to have more mouths to feed. Families are less likely to procreate for a range of reasons. And contraceptives and an understanding of how to use them was shoddy at best during this period of time, so you're not going to take any risks. Now, this century ends with a bang with the French Revolution, and we see a conservative shift in Europe at the beginning of the 1800s. People settle down from a period of chaos and uncertainty, and they start to crave predictable comfort. This is very similar to what happened in World War II, when we saw the rise of the nuclear family, especially in America. And women who for years had been doing manual labor are now kind of shooed back into the home. Even after the storm has settled and the economy becomes safe, people are less likely to risk the risque. People don't want to push boundaries and rock the boat. We want to play it safe. It is no secret that at this period in time when we are seeing an economic downturn, we're also seeing a conservative shift, once again, in history. I think Pride Month is a great example of that this year, which seems to be going off with less of a bang and more of a whimper. From my own experience running kinky history, I have been increasingly encouraged to play it safe when back in 2020 I was being celebrated for loudly talking about